sure that every person in this room knows why I'm standing here on the Biva today. The responsibilities and obligations of synagogue presidents are many and varied, but none, perhaps, is more critical to the synagogue than the traditional high holiday message. Throughout this land and abroad in virtually every country and every language known to Jews the world over, synagogue officers are asking for money. Yes, this is the annual appeal for funds. Funds that you know, as I know, are as vital to the future of the shul, of every shul, as prayer itself. As those of us responsible for the financial health of this institution know very well, religious practice can be costly. I've thought a great deal about how to bring this message to you, how to make it meaningful, creditable, worthy of your attention, how to deliver a message to motivate what I hope will be your generous response. And there it was. I was driving home, likely from Shul, and as I made the left turn from Oak Lawn Avenue to Pine Neck Road, excuse me, I saw 3 cute little kids sitting at a card table on the front lawn selling cups of lemonade. Now, those of you who live in the Goose Creek area of Southold may have seen that little tableau. It evoked in me an experience from long ago. It's strange, I suppose, that at the outset of this serious appeal, I am reminded of an experience from my childhood. Clearly, this is not a recent event, but for sure it is one that has remained with me these many years, one that I have told and retold at this time of the year, maybe to some of you, and one that I find curiously appropriate again at this moment. I must have been maybe, 9, maybe 10 years old, kind of bored with inactivity as the long summer wore on. And I, like many kids that age, decided I would set up a lemonade stand in our front yard. Icy cold, refreshing drink on a hot day, just what our neighbors needed, I thought. I announced this to my father at dinner that evening. Now, my father was a respected businessman in our town, and I was certain he would be proud that his daughter was following in his footsteps. I'm going to sell lemonade in the neighborhood, I said, eagerly awaiting praise for my ingenuity, my resourcefulness. I see, he said, that's very interesting. I'd like to know more about your plan. Plan? What plan? Father, I just told you my plan. I said I'm going to sell lemonade to the neighbors. He kind of knitted his brow and he peered at me skeptically over his glasses, as he always did when his daughter in her exuberance came up with yet another big idea. And I knew I'd have to provide more information before the words of praise would come bubbling forth. I have it all figured out, I said. I'll take the card table out of the front hall closet, and I'll set it up in the front yard near the road, I added, so that everybody driving by will see it. I thought for certain that my marketing concept would impress him. And I was thinking how lucky it was that the thought had occurred to me at just the right moment. I don't know about the card table, Father said. I always called him Father, by the way. A thoughtful, formal man. Daddy somehow just didn't suit him. I think he rather liked it, my brother Harold and I called him Father. The card table isn't very sturdy, he said finally. Any project worth doing starts with a sound idea and good materials. come on, we'll go down into the basement and get some 2x4s and metal braces, and oh, and we'll need the toolbox and a tube of wood glue from the supply cabinet. Oh, okay, I said, disappointed that at the outset of my business career had already hit a snag. And while we're down here, he said, rooting around for more materials, bring up some of those wooden slats left over from the fence repairs. We can use those to hold up the roof. Roof? Who said anything about a roof? Why couldn't I just open up the card table, put a pitcher of lemonade on it and some paper cups, just like the kids next door did when they had a lemonade stand? They didn't need 2x4s or fence slats or a roof on it. I was beginning to feel sorry I'd thought up the whole thing. You have a nice solid base of an idea here, he said reassuringly. I think the neighbors will appreciate a cool drink on a hot day. And everybody seems to like lemonade. But you don't want to be out of business before you start, do you? With good support, you'll be protected in case of rain or a sudden gust of wind. And with a tarpaulin nailed to the slats, you'll be shaded from the sun as well. Sorry about that, I need to do that. I suppose so, I said, thinking that maybe Father did have a point there. And besides, now that we were into this, I guess I didn't want leaves and stuff from the trees falling into my pitcher of lemonade. Nevertheless, the project was taking a lot longer than I had anticipated, and startup costs were mounting fast. Father had said that because we had taken steps to reduce the risk of failure, he would advance me the cost of the lumber. But that if I wanted to be an honest and trustworthy businesswoman, I should repay him out of profits from sales. He also pointed out that lemons and sugar cost money, and that I'd have to make a separate arrangement with my mother to cover those expenses. Golly, I haven't even started and I'm behind, I said. What about charity? I'm glad you brought that up, Father said. People have to feel good about giving charity. They have to know that their money is well spent, that the venture offers growth and a sense of permanence. No one, he said, no one should be expected to give money to a venture that could disappear overnight. I asked him if he thought my venture would grow, and he made a very interesting observation. He said, if your second day's profits exceed what you take in on the first day, I will forgive your loan and consider it a charitable gift. I wasn't sure I understood that exactly. Oh, it's quite simple, he said. To get people to come to you the first time isn't difficult. People are curious by nature. They want to try new things. But if you haven't made them feel welcome or important, or if you haven't delivered a good product, people won't return. So if they come back a second time, or if they send other people, well, you must be doing it right. And that makes me feel that my money is well spent and that your venture will be around for a while and will grow. Even at that age, I accepted my father's observations as a challenge. And I look forward to the prospect of showing him that I could be a good business person. Not so fast, he cautioned. There is one more item we need to discuss. My heart sank. There's always a catch. Don't forget to ask for the money, he said. Oh, You don't have to worry about that, I said. People know they have to pay for what they have. Most do, he said. But some need to be reminded what they do have, even if it's just a cup of lemonade. And you should feel no reluctance at all to ask for payment. Father and I were talking about a simple drink made with tap water and a few ingredients from my mother's kitchen. What lessons are there in that? In fact, I have often thought about that summer and about the stand that Father and I built and about the way he insisted that we build it. Now, I'd like to take just another moment, I promise it won't take long, to see how our synagogue here measures up to my father's standards. Are the materials sturdy? Is the idea behind our synagogue sound? This structure emerged from the sweat of an enduring faith that has survived for 5,784 years. Are the materials sturdy? Our building has withstood wind, sun, snow, and rain, adversity and jubilation, tragedy and triumph, laughter and tears. It has provided solace to the bereaved, grounding for lost souls, spirituality for believers. We like to say that our synagogue here is a beacon of Judaism on the North Fork, a draw to Jews for miles around, and it has been so for more than 120 years. Small pause. Is our structure welcoming? Well, I hope you were all greeted properly at the door when you came in today. And if you have ever worshiped in our historic sanctuary, I hope you found it to be a peaceful oasis. As we join in communal prayer here this morning, I hope that each of you feels a sense of belonging, a rightful part of the synagogue family. Are we moving forward, growing, exhibiting a sense of permanence? 6 new families recently joined us. Last year we celebrated 3 bar mitzvahs, a bat mitzvah, a wedding, and a baby naming. And I heard only a few days ago that we will celebrate another bar mitzvah this November. Our Joyfully Jewish summer program for children 6 to 10 was a beautiful addition to programming. We have made exterior lighting and security improvements to our shul building and our parsonage, and our beautiful and inspiring park, generously supported by the Levin family, continues to flourish. A book circle fuels our intellect. Our Judaism and art group mounted the art show you see here in this room. And I invite you to take a little time later this morning to enjoy the creative talent of our shul members. And the Tikkun Olam group, whose charitable work, including the Cans for Cast project you saw as you entered this building, enhances our mission to comfort those in need. Meanwhile, we continue to plan for other offerings later this fall and into the winter. Does this not suggest a sense of growth, of permanence? Do we deliver a good product? As I look around this room today, I see familiar faces. Many of you who choose to come and worship with us on the High Holy Days, not only a second time, as my father observed, but year after year. You know that we will be here, that we will welcome you, that we will provide you with a rabbi, with a cantor, with a minyan and sacred space to help you attain spiritual fulfillment during the high holidays and throughout the year. And indeed, we are pleased that you do return to us. Those of you new to our synagogue visiting us for the first time, we hope you too will return. Your presence here enriches all of us and makes our observance all the more memorable. And finally, as my father counseled, it falls to me to ask for the money. The physical plant, the materials, building maintenance and repairs, the spiritual leaders, the rabbi and the cantor, our plans for growth and permanence, our programming and youth activities, and our product, an inspiring Jewish presence on the North Fork of Long Island, where all of us can bask in the peace and tranquility of this spiritual home. None of it possible, none of it without money. Our dues, our fundraisers, our luncheons, gift shops, efforts to meet expenses and expectations, not nearly enough. And so, I must ask this time that you think about what we have here and what our togetherness in prayer in this special place provide. I ask you to think about what you take home with you when you leave here, and more importantly, what you expect to find when you return next week, next month, next year, and in the years ahead. I ask for your financial support. I ask you to be generous. I ask you to help us, to help our Jewish faith here on the North Fork persist. I hope I have been able to convey my message to you in a meaningful way, just as my father conveyed it to me. My father died on January 5th, 2003. He was buried next to my mother in the Michelson family plot in Bound Brook, New Jersey. He was 101 years old. Father will always be with me. But as time passes and memories cloud, if I need a trigger from time to time to help me recall my experiences growing up as his daughter, well, I can always pour myself a glass of lemonade.